Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a seriously fascinating intersection of ideas. We're going to look at how the totally mind-bending, nonlinear realities of quantum mechanics can actually serve as a modern metaphor to completely reframe how we understand the power of prayer. We're taking a journey from the absolute smallest particles in the universe right up to the deepest questions of human belief, and it's all focused on one massive idea, the power behind what we're calling quantum faith.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the problem with prayer, move into the quantum physics metaphor, then entangled with the divine, laws of spiritual physics, and finally, activating your quantum faith. Let's get right into it. So, part 1, the problem with prayer, dial up to the divine.
Now, have we actually lost hope in prayer? It's a huge frustration in our modern culture, right? I mean, you constantly see people on social media saying we need action, not prayer, basically writing it off as just this empty, useless gesture. And honestly, it stems from a super relatable human struggle. We've all dealt with unanswered prayers, and it creates this creeping feeling that we're just tossing useless messages up into a distant, empty sky. And when nothing seems to happen, well, our expectations totally drop, and prayer just starts to feel like a frustrating, ineffective ritual. But to counter that feeling of hopelessness, the source material points us to a really interesting premise from the biblical book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 20. The core idea here is absolutely crucial. It suggests that we can actually figure out and understand the unseen, invisible spiritual realm by paying very close attention to the created, physical realm around us. Think about it like this. Just as Jesus used farming or money as metaphors in his parables to explain complex ideas, we can look at how the physical world operates at its most fundamental, microscopic level to get a glimpse into how the spiritual world might actually work.
Which brings us to section 2, the quantum physics metaphor, exploring the unseen.
Now, just to be super clear right off the bat, we're not saying the quantum realm is literally the spiritual realm. No, we're using it as this incredibly brilliant visual metaphor. And the beating heart of this metaphor is a concept called quantum entanglement. Basically, it's this mind-blowing phenomenon where two particles become so deeply connected that whatever happens to one instantly affects the other, completely regardless of space or time. You poke a particle here, and its entangled partner reacts instantaneously, whether it's sitting in the next room or all the way across the entire universe. It's so weird that Albert Einstein literally called it spooky action at a distance. And honestly, the sheer strangeness of the quantum realm is pretty hard to overstate. When you get down to the absolute smallest building blocks of matter, the classic everyday rules of cause and effect just completely break down. Particles fluctuate like crazy. Sometimes they act like solid little chunks of matter, and other times they act like waves of pure potential. But here's the wildest part. Human observation and expectation actually seem to change how these particles behave. Yeah, literally. It implies we are living in a universe that highly responds to us, rather than just existing in some cold, deterministic machine. So, applying this to prayer gives us a fantastic analogy. Think about the old, outdated view of prayer. It's kind of like a painful, screeching 1990s dial-up modem. You're trying to send this hardwired message across time and space to a super distant God, and you're just waiting for him to receive it, evaluate it, and hopefully, eventually, ping an answer back. But now, compare that to a quantum computing model of prayer. In quantum computing, information written on one entangled particle instantly appears on the other. There are no wires, there is no travel time. In this model, prayer isn't about shouting across a massive empty void. It's an instantaneous, deeply entangled transmission.
Moving on to section 3, entangled with the divine, crossing the bridge. So, how exactly do we cross this bridge from physics to faith? Well, it's by understanding the argument that believers are essentially quantumly entangled with the divine. To really get this, we need to contrast what we'll call Newtonian faith with quantum faith. Newtonian faith is classic cause and effect, right? It's the transactional idea that you have to earn your blessings. If you obey all the rules faithfully, then God reacts and gives you a blessing. Quantum faith totally flips the script. It suggests that the divine promise has already been spoken, putting that reality out there into the universe. So your job isn't to beg or earn it. Your job is simply to have the receptivity in your own heart to host that promise until it bears fruit. It's all about agreement and alignment, not transaction. And this whole idea is anchored in a foundational belief from Romans 8:11. The source material points out that believers simply don't need a hardwired message sent through space to a faraway heaven, because the exact same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead currently lives inside them. You share this direct, instantaneous internal connection with the Creator.
You are already connected. Section 4, Laws of Spiritual Physics, Overriding the Physical.
Now, what's really interesting about this perspective is how it reframes biblical miracles. Instead of viewing them as just unpredictable religious magic tricks, we can look at them as the application of a higher spiritual physics. For example, when Jesus walked on water, a higher spiritual law was simply superseding the lower physical laws of gravity and mass. Or multiplying the fish, that's a higher order affecting the conservation of mass. But perhaps the absolute best example of our entanglement metaphor is the story of the centurion's servant. The centurion asked Jesus to just speak a word to heal his servant who was miles and miles away. Physical distance was completely irrelevant. The spoken word entangled instantly with the servant's physical state, totally bypassing the lower physical reality of space and incurable disease. There's also a genuinely fascinating connection here to human biology. Think about your body's immune system for a second. It is inherently designed to naturally fight for your optimal health and well-being, and the source argues that this directly mirrors a spiritual reality. Just as your physical immune system fights to heal your physical body, the spirit, that life of God dwelling within you, is designed to bring vitality and healing to you as well. The physical design of our bodies points directly to the spiritual intention.
Which brings us to our final section, activating your quantum faith, hosting the promise. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? How do we shift from begging a distant God to practically hosting this entangled promise? Well, here's a pretty surprising fact to prove that this isn't just some super secret power for an elite few. Jesus didn't just give this spiritual physics authority to his core 12 disciples. No, he empowered 70 others and sent them out to do the exact same things. He even validated a complete outsider who was performing miracles but wasn't even part of their specific group. This proves that this power was never meant to be some limited, exclusive anomaly. It's a highly accessible reality for anyone who believes. So here is the actionable breakdown from the source. Step 1. Stop praying without expectation. We have to stop treating prayer like a casual box-checking ritual, where we just throw words into the air assuming absolutely nothing will happen. Step 2. Recognize that you are already entangled. You don't have to shout across the universe. The power and the answer are already inside you. And step 3. Pray with the authority of the mind of Christ. Engage with the situation with the full, unwavering persuasion that God's will is life, health, and restoration. So the whole thing really comes down to this one final, provocative question. When you pray, are you just sending a message across a vast, empty void, desperately hoping a distant God hears you? Or are you operating from a place of quantum faith, fully realizing that you are already deeply entangled with the Creator? It is a massive shift in mindset, one that beautifully bridges the strange realities of modern physics with deep spiritual belief. And it really leaves us completely fascinated by the true potential of prayer. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep questioning how the unseen shapes the seen.